a lot of restaurant owners, bars, and even the hotel industry, just thrown for another loop. As the state senator said, if you've been paying attention, you pretty much knew this was coming. However, anticipating it and having it actually, become official are two different things. And joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is John McNamara. He's the Vice President of Government Affairs for the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association. We just had you on not long ago talking about how some of the businesses and the restaurants were, starting to get their footing back a little bit, but worried about this happening. And now it's here, it's official as of Wednesday. What are you hearing from your members?
So at this point, they're scared and they're frustrated. I think they're beyond being angry, they're beyond being mad. And now it's, how are we supposed to survive? Because you don't just shut down a restaurant. There's supply chain implications. There's product that they've ordered, there's product that they have they don't want to freeze. So they're really looking at this as it's not 3 weeks for them. It's going to be more like 6 to 8 for them to, fully open up again. And then, is it worth to fully open again in mid-December if no one wants to be out?
And with this, John, are you hearing from some of your members, or what are you telling them for the ones that are deciding to say, hey, I'm going to roll the dice and keep my doors open?
We have not heard anyone say they're planning on defying the order and going to keep their doors open. Obviously, takeout and delivery are still going to be very useful tools during this time. And, hopefully the general public will continue to be supportive. But I've obviously we were talking about this all weekend, and I've been talking about this since about 6 o'clock this morning. But everyone I've talked to so far, the message, their message has been, how do we pivot? How do we, and make this work? Not, I'm going to stay open and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and we just came off of the, rules that were implemented a couple weeks ago with the sign-in for the contact tracing. It seems like, and they dialed back on that mandate, made it more of a recommendation. But now we're going through this, and as the business owners, can we talk a little bit about the numbers? Because is this really, I checked the dashboard on the state of Michigan. They have a dashboard and you can check the outbreaks. And I'm like, what am I missing here? Because it seems the public numbers, at any rate, aren't really supporting the outbreak numbers. Are there more outbreaks happening? And, is it maybe just not being reported to the state? Does someone know more than I do? Well, there are a lot of people who do, but
right. We don't believe so, and we keep hearing about science and data, and we don't believe that the numbers are there to support it. And also, we believe it's far safer for people to be in a regulated environment where someone's going to make you wear a mask when you're not sitting down, when there's only going to be 6 people at a table, when you'll be 6 feet from the other table, and having these, regulations in place and following them to a T, rather than having everyone in someone's basement where, no one's going to wear a mask and people are just going to be more relaxed because they're in someone's home, and that's just the way it is. So, we're obviously not thrilled about it, not happy with it. We did have some heads up. We did know it was coming. But right now, we moved on to how do we survive, and how do we get past this, and how do we get to, April when people can be outside again, and hopefully we have a vaccine that's available to anyone who wants it.
So are you anticipating this is going to run longer than the 3 weeks?
Probably. Can't say that for sure, but, they have that ability to extend it beyond 3 weeks. And then again, even if it's not shutting down a restaurant for 3 weeks, then having it's tough to then just, turn around and reopen your doors and have everything ready to go. But we are anticipating this does go beyond 3 weeks.
John McNamara with us, the Vice President of Government Affairs with the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. And John, this isn't a situation like it was before, where it's the first time that you're closing that proverbial door and having to make these adjustments there's some experience there on behalf of these restaurants and these bars from the
Sure.
first set of shutdowns, but it was inevitable that we all knew going into the latter half, hopefully, of this statewide and countrywide battle against COVID-19 that reclosing that door after it's been reopened is going to be even more complicated for these restaurants. How many or what percentage, if you have any sort of estimates right now, does your organization believe can survive these 3 weeks if they're not getting ample support from the public through carryout and through delivery dining? How many of your restaurants do you believe may survive or may not survive this current shutdown?
So statewide, we've already lost about 2,000 restaurants permanently, and there's about 16,000 in the state of Michigan. We believe that if, this continues and we have, this was with reduced capacity, that we would lose another about 2,000 to 3,000 more over, by January. And I think, if they just tell people, you can't go into a restaurant until mid-January, you're probably going to see another 3,000 restaurants close their doors for good.
You're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. And one of the things that's been an additional struggle for so many restaurant owners has to do with the employees. So they struggle to get employees. They have some employees back. I think that's one part of this conversation a lot of people aren't focused on right now is what's going to happen to these employees. Because if now you have to remember, so many of them are relying on those tips in order to actually, pay the light bill or, put food on the table. Is there any type of discussion within the association on what can be done to try to support the employees?
There is. So what really needs to be done, and the senator touched on this before, we need a second round of funding from the federal government, and it's just that simple. And they seem to be inching closer and closer, but I think now as you see more and more states start to shut down, they need to act quickly, because right now they're saying it's not going to be until January when they get a deal done, but January is just simply not going to cut it. So obviously Michigan does have an enhanced unemployment program that goes through December 31st of this year. But then, it's back to status quo. But, there needs to be another round of paycheck protection funding, and there needs to be probably a second round of stimulus checks from the federal government. And then additionally, some more money for unemployment, some more CARES dollars.
Do you think if this is only 3 weeks that more restaurants are going to maybe continue to try to do extended outdoor dining? Because there was some movement about the outdoor dining and what was going to be allowed and what wasn't going to be allowed. It seemed like there was some discussion and some movement on that topic. Or is that going to be tabled now, or do you think that that's going to continue?
No, we've already had those conversations this morning yet of trying to get a very specific definition from Health and Human Services of what does outdoor dining mean. For example, if someone were to invest the money in the igloos you're seeing, does that count as outdoor dining since they're outdoor, or is it indoors since it's enclosed? So no, that we will continue to have those conversations, and I think if people can do it and find a way to do it effectively and efficiently, and they can afford it, they'll do it. But I mean, right now, even if you put a tent in your parking lot, you can't have the sides down, and I don't know a lot of people who want to sit outside in 40-degree weather with as windy as it's been in Michigan.
Yeah, or when it becomes like 10 below, that
right.
number is going to decrease quite a bit there. And with that, before we let you go, can we talk a little bit about enforcement? Has there been any discussion and talks about the possibility of the enforcement behind these orders? Who's going to be responsible? Because I'm sure you're getting a lot of those questions from your members as well.
Yeah, so it will come down to local public health, who will be the ultimate people to enforce this. I mean, in theory, could your sheriff's department or local police drive around and check? I'm sure they could. I doubt they will. They have many other things to do to help protect the people of the state of Michigan and their communities. So it will be up to local public health. And I mean, they're already, very, they work really hard and they do a great job, but they're spread pretty thin already. So it's just going to be one more thing for them to keep an eye on. But in general, we saw compliance last time. We anticipate seeing compliance again. No one wants to have their liquor license taken away. No one wants to lose their business license. So this industry will continue to grind and continue to pivot and continue to make it work. And, unfortunately, not everyone's going to make it, but those that do will come back stronger. And we're just right now looking forward to spring.
John McNamara with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast. We want to say thank you for your time. I know you have been fielding phone calls probably like crazy over the past 24 hours, so we do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk with us as well. And again, thank you for all that you're doing for the restaurant industry and helping them navigate these crazy times. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you for having me.